Reading of the book In the Light of Loving Devotion by Srila Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhar Dev-Goswāmī Mahārāj. Part 2, The Journey Home. Chapter 8, Affectionate Connection. Break the spell. Mostly we are captured by the allurement of the external appearance of things, of the cover, of that which we can grasp with our senses, the eye, ear, tongue, the touch, the nose. We are captivated there, and that is the danger. But we must pierce through the coverings to find out and come in connection with what is within, with the truth proper. All our apparent charm for the coverings must be broken to pieces and removed. We are to dive deep into the innermost substance within us and get back our real connection with Him, with our Lord. Ignoring the coverings over our own selves, the outer representations of body and mind, we must look to the necessity of our deeper person, our real self within. At the same time, piercing through all the coverings of the environment, that which we see outside ourselves in the world, we shall also try to connect with the innermost substance. These coverings must both be eliminated. That is to say, not eliminated altogether, but we must go through them to discover the substance within, and that substance's own real interest. Then we shall be able to have proper knowledge and proper adjustment, both inner and outer, proper adjustment with the whole. The footnote, proper adjustment with the whole, that is, with the whole, capital W, the Lord, meaning a proper relationship, sambandha, with the Lord and His energies. In short, making too much of the outer representation of things and ignoring the inner substance is bad. We are ignoring the soul, the conscious entity, the knower. In the material aspect of our existence also, both gross and subtle, our understanding is also maladjusted. We are making much of the physical body, but ignoring the mind and ignoring the intelligence, the valuable faculty of judgment within us. The wealth within. If we are too much busy with the external covering of ourselves, the body, flesh and bone, we will be misguided. And in relation to the environment, if we concentrate only on the outside, on the external appearance of things, that is to ignore the truth, because within there is so much of value, there is immense wealth to be had. A man with a good body, but not a good mental system, what is his position? His body is good looking, but there is derangement of his mentality, no good judgment faculty, no magnanimity of heart. He is lacking in all such good qualities. That is a very deficient condition, because the wealth is within. Similarly, in our experience of the world, we are to know that the real wealth is within, and we must not allow ourselves to be charmed by the cover, by whatever appears to us on the outside. In this way, we are to move in our vision, in our understanding, from deep to deeper to deepest, and we must be benefited. The 5 dimensions of knowledge. In the scriptures, knowledge has been classified into 5 planes or stages: pratyaksha, paroksha, aparoksha, adhoksaja, and aprakrita. Pratyaksha means our sense experience, that which we gather from the direct experience of our senses. That is our own experience, knowledge which is confined within the limits of our sense experience. But if we want to develop further, to grow in our knowledge, then we have to also accept the experience of others. This is called Paraksha, the second plane of knowledge. For example, in medical science, there is the discovery or invention of different medicines, and we may get the benefit of such developments. This is not the result of our direct experience, but is the experience of an expert, and we can have the utility and the benefit of that. The footnote. This Paraksha Gyan, knowledge gleaned from others' experience, may in a more general sense refer not only to expert or specialized knowledge, such as that of medical science, etc., but also to whatever may be valuably learned from others. For example, I may have never in my present life been to China, but I can understand something about China, its climate, customs, food, geography, and so on, by hearing from a friend, who, of course, I trust, who has actually been there. In this way, my knowledge can expand. Caveat. In the modern day, unfortunately, many things may be heard or learned from others that are not necessarily factual at all, but may be given out as false propaganda, and so on. Due to this aberration, the propensity to cheat others is one of the faults of the conditioned soul, along with imperfect senses, committing mistakes and being an illusion. This age of Kali, as well as being the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, was also often described by Srila Śrīdhar Mahārāj as the age of doubt and suspicion. Like a deep and peaceful sleep. The third type of knowledge, which is of a still higher plane, is called Aparoksha. This may be conceived to be something like the experience of a sound sleep. When we are in a deep, dreamless slumber, we can come in touch with a plane which is not within the experience either of myself or of others. When in deep sleep, we have no consciousness of that state, but when we come back, when we awaken from it, we sometimes assert, "Oh, I had a very good sleep, a very happy, peaceful sleep." There is some sort of inexplicable experience of happiness there, in that plane. Some experience of peace is to be traced there. Though it is indistinct, it is hazy, still it is beyond the jurisdiction both of my own direct sense experience and of the experience of others, be they so many experts of the world. So Aparoksha is that kind of experience where the subject and the material object come together, and the object appears to merge into, to vanish into the subject. It is the third plane of knowledge. Shankar Acharya, the great proponent of impersonalism, explains the gradations of consciousness up to this point. The transcendental plane. Above this is Turiya, the fourth plane of knowledge, known as Adoksaja, the transcendental plane. It has been revealed through the great devotee scholar Sri Ramanuja Acharya, as well as other Vaishnava Acharyas. It is Adoksaja, that is, existing beyond the scope of the senses, whether gross or subtle. It is a plane that we can experience only when, by its sweet will, it comes down to our gross stage of understanding, and if it withdraws, we are helpless, we can't find it. As the soul, we are the thinker, the feeler, and as a subject, we conceive of other things of the world as objects of our knowledge. But there is a higher subject than us, and that super-subject is the seer, the feeler, and the knower of myself. But I cannot know him, because the plane of his existence is so fine. My knowing capacity cannot rise up and penetrate into it. My knowing principle is gross, and that plane is so subtle, so fine, it can come down to contact with me, but I cannot go up to contact with him. In this way I may be handled by him, by that transcendental substance and existence, the super-subjective existence, the supersoul. When that plane comes down to contact me, I may have some experience of it, and when it is withdrawn, I can only carry the memory of that, nothing else. I cannot give any proof of its existence by any will or acumen of my own. I'm helpless to do that, because it has withdrawn. I cannot stand in the witness box and give evidence for it to prove my case, because the fact that I am referring to it is no longer there. It is gone. But at the same time, we cannot deny its existence. There is such a possibility that we can experience that higher existence. And those of us who have had such experience cannot deny it. And that existence is fully independent. When by its sweet will it withdraws, we cannot force it to remain under our command. All-powerful and independent. So, Adhoksaja is the fourth plane of knowledge, the fourth dimension of consciousness. It is beyond our experience. We are, as it were, underground, and real knowledge is above, on the surface. That plane is beyond our experience. But if the thick coverings walling up our consciousness, our experience, can be pierced through, then we can come in connection with it. Adhokritam indriyajam jnanam. Adhoksaja means the superior knowledge which can overcome, can suppress or force down our knowledge of the experience of this world. It is transcendental, supramental knowledge. That plane is not similar to this world. It is different in every way. It is grand, all-powerful and all-inspiring. It is known as Vaikuntha, the unlimited spiritual region of awe and power. Pure love's domain. Through Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we come to know that there is yet a fifth stage, a fifth dimension of knowledge, and it has a peculiar characteristic. It is very similar to this mundane world, yet it is not mundane. It is called Aprakrit. It is the most fully fledged theistic conception, which is only found in Krishna's domain, Golok. Central knowledge of the Absolute must have a connection with all, even the lowest level of the mundane creation and existence. It must be able to harmonize the worst portion of the illusory world. That knowledge, that plane is called aprakrit, supramundane. To enter that highest realm is possible only through divine love. Everything can be compensated for through love. There is a saying that a loving mother thinks her blind child has beautiful lotus eyes. She is blinded by affection. So what is mean and low can be compensated for by love. And like a precious ornament, this shines very beautifully, and that is prema, divine love. Through mercy, through pity, through grace, a king can come to play with a boy on the street. Affection can make it possible, and the difference between high and low disappears at such a stage. Vrindavan life. The purest devotion is jnana shunya bhakti, divine love which is free from any calculation and does not consider even the opulence and power of the Lord. This is above Vaikuntha, and it goes on under the spell of Yoga Maya, the spiritually enchanting potency. It is the special art of Yogamaya that those holding the highest position think themselves very insignificant. So the residents of Krishna's abode, Vrindavan, do not know, they are not conscious of their own exalted position. They think themselves ordinary. Love removes the difference of great and small, high and low, and their love is free from any trace of calculation. Vrindavan is such a plane of existence. This is the beautiful nature of the Aprakrita realm, of Vrindavan life. It is great without the attitude, the air of bigness. Although the residents are really great, they appear to be simple. Power dressed in affection and love, and couched in humility. Such is Vrindavan, and it is above Vaikuntha, the plane of awe, reverence, power and opulence. Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say this is the highest and most laudable place for us to live. There the Supreme Lord Krishna and the gopis are living in the forest. We find no grandeur or big buildings there, but if we have a true eye for grandeur, we will see it in Vrindavan. From an impartial judgment of the facts, their position is very great, but through humility they have apparently descended to our level. It is a very sweet and beautiful form of life that we find in Vrindavan. And Mahaprabhu came to show us that through Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna is the Lord of that land, and the cows, hills, forests, and the Jamuna river are all creating a favourable environment there. Relief from mania. Go home. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas to teach us and to take us up and make us the permanent inhabitants of that place. He says that actually our real selves live in that plane. But unfortunately, our consciousness has become focused outside. Now we are captured by the mundane aspect of this creation and think that we are suffering, but this is all illusion. We must get relief from this mania. Just as a madman leaves his home and wanders in the street collecting pieces of paper and cloth, so we are focused in this world, but when this madness is gone, we will awaken in our own home. Mahaprabhu tells us, you must return home, back to Godhead. You must go home. Your home is such a beautiful land. You must only try for that. At the bottom of all your troubles is the fact that you have identified yourself with this material world and this body of flesh and blood. You have to retrace your path and go back to your home. That is what is necessary. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sannyas is for all of us. It is for the purpose of taking us back home, where we can have home comforts, home sweetness. If we have any home consciousness within us, we cannot but appreciate such a proposal. Home, sweet home. There's a footnote at the end of the chapter. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the direct incarnation of the Supreme Lord Krishna, who appears in every Kali Yuga as the Yuga avatar, the incarnation of the age, to teach the chanting of the holy name of Krishna, the Yuga Dharma of the age, or religion of this age. In this particular Kali Yuga, coming just once in each day of Lord Brahma, Mahaprabhu is actually the combined form of Krishna and Radha, the complete absolute. That is, he is Krishna who has assumed the golden colour and inner mood of love of Sri Radha. His internal pleasure potency, Sadhini Shakti, in order to experience and understand the depth of devotion and bliss which he experiences in loving him. In his pastimes on earth, 1486 to 1535 AD, Lord Chaitanya lived as a grihastha, a married householder in Nabadip, West Bengal, and in his 24th year took sannyas, the renounced order of life, in order to deliver love of God to all. He spent 6 years preaching all over India, and the last 12 years of his manifest presence in near seclusion in Jagannath Puri, Orissa. For an in-depth look at Lord Chaitanya's sannyas, its reasons and inculcation, we would recommend Srila Śrīdhar Maharaj's profound illuminations in his book about the life of Lord Chaitanya, The Golden Volcano of Divine Love, pages 95 to 135. Chapter 9. The Highest Solution. Our Eternal Good. So much energy is given for the national cause, so many atomic bombs, so many soldiers ready to devote their life, to sacrifice their life for the national interest. But this national prosperity, how little it is. What does it amount to? It is trifling. It is as nothing. The eternal good, however, is real wealth, fortune. It is a good for eternity. So how much energy should we collect for that? To do good for all, to distribute such fortune, such eternal good to one and all, so that they may get back to their home, to take all the misguided people back to their sweet, sweet home. It is such a high degree of welfare. And that is the duty, the call that arose in the mind of Mahaprabhu. All these vagabonds, they should be taken to their own home and guardian. They're wandering here like so many beasts in the jungle, without knowing what is good or what is bad, and always engaged in some sort of competition, biting one another. Such is their condition, their deplorable condition. I must take them home. That is the situation of the souls wandering in this world, and they think they're civilized. Animals who live in the jungle are fighting and biting, all trying to live, to survive at the cost of the others. And human beings, they're following the same course, and more efficiently, fighting other nations. What sort of civilization is this? It is only a civilized jungle. Then civilization loses its meaning. Civil means gentle. Is this gentleness? What one does individually, competition, exploitation, all ungentle behavior, if one does it as a group, as a nation, does that make it civilization? And they are proud of doing that kind of activity, and so foolish that they think that by doing it in the name of the nation, all such actions are purified, that if their jungle habits can be performed under this name, they are justified. But all these justifications, they are just words in a fool's dictionary. Help from home. It is said that a half-truth is worse than a lie. Similarly, a half-help, misguided help, that is more dangerous because it directs one's attention to the wrong thing. Mahaprabhu said, Vedana mania bodha hai tanashtik, vedashraya nashtikavad podake adik. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya-lila 6, 168, quote, the Buddhists do not recognize the authority of the Vedas. Therefore they are considered agnostics. However, those who have taken shelter of the Vedic scriptures, yet preach agnosticism in accordance with the Mayavad philosophy, are certainly more dangerous than the Buddhists, unquote. In the name of religion, if we preach atheism, that is more dangerous than the preaching of a street atheist. There's a footnote. If under the guise of true religion, meaning an authentic theistic conception, which is based on faith in the eternal, infinite God the person, as he is revealed through a genuine tradition, if what is being preached is actually agnosticism or atheism, in the form of the conclusions of Nirvishesh and Shunyavad, impersonalism or voidism, especially when this is propagated systematically under the supposed authority of a spiritual organization or mission, then this is worse, more misleading than the preaching of an independent street atheist whose views can be more easily dismissed. Oh, it is just his opinion. This phenomenon is in the present day found among groups claiming to represent lineages of yoga and Vedanta, etc. Back to the text. In the name of civilization, societies and nations are doing what is shameful, even for the animals of the jungle. They are giving food and clothing and so-called education to the public. And that is supposed to be a very good thing, a high thing. But that is not even a half-truth. But to take them home and nothing less, that is what is necessary. There is an expression, home comfort. It means where it is very sweet. Home means where there is mother, there is father, and they know the real necessity of the child. The child may not know that, but those in his home know what is his real interest. His mother, father, and so many affectionate relatives, they know more than the boy himself. So the real necessity is to guide the person to their home, and there the whole atmosphere will automatically come to help them, to render real help to them. Home means this, and so we must all go back to God, back to home. That was Mahaprabhu's wish, and the duty undertaken by him. All the wanderers in the street should be collected and taken home. And the devotee asks, sometimes when preaching to the public, we find it very difficult because they don't want to go back home. So how should a devotee keep up his enthusiasm for this attempt? Srila Śrīdhar Mahārāj. It depends to some extent on the capacity of the preacher, the guide, the teacher. But somehow, by any means, by hook or by crook, we must try to take them home. There the Lord knows their best interest. He will see for their home comfort. That is the idea. The child does not know his own real interest. He may be crazy. He may run this way and that, anyway, but towards home. And this is the problem. It makes the situation very complex. Otherwise, to take him home would have been very simple. But somehow we must try to take them towards their home. Prime necessity. Whatever is done with the sincere wish of spreading the teachings of Mahaprabhu, that is welcome, and that is Mahaprabhu's instruction. Jaredeka tare kaha Krishna upadesh. Wherever we go and whomever we find, we shall talk to them about Krishna. Krishna is the universal lover and owner, the absolute Lord of everyone. So any time and place, wherever and whenever, whether we are lying down or taking food or talking, always we shall try to connect them with Krishna. There's a footnote here, that verse in full. Jaredeka tare kaha Krishna upadesh, amar agai guru hana tara edesh. From Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya-lila 7, 128. Quote, whomever you see, wherever you go, tell them about Krishna. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land, unquote. Srila Śrīdhar Mahārāj expresses this verse in his own words. Whomever you find, talk with him only about Krishna. We have no other engagement. Whomever you find, any soul you come across, try to save him from this desert of mortality. I command you, don't be afraid. Take the position of Guru, the giver, and give it to everyone. And Srila Śrīdhar Mahārāj is here saying that whatever the devotee of Mahaprabhu is doing, eating, resting, etc., He, as the giver, the preacher, should try to connect others with Krishna and Krishna consciousness. There's a verse in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, Ki shayane ki bhojane ki va jagarane ahanisha chinta Krishna molha vadane. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya Khand 28:28. Quote, whether you are sleeping, eating or awake, day and night, always think of Krishna and chant Krishna's name. So this is Mahaprabhu's, back to the text. So this is Mahaprabhu's instruction. From this mortal world, try to connect them to the highest immortal plane, and not only of immortal existence, but of immortal nectar. Try to connect every mortal being with the center of all existence, with Krishna. Every atom, every soul, every point of existence that you come across, connect them with that highest center of love. This should be done by a sincere devotee. He will try his best to connect Krishna with everything. His whole time may be utilized in the connection of Krishna, the universal Lord of love, and he will try to distribute him to every heart who is suffering from mortality here. That is Mahaprabhu's desire. Save them by spreading the talk of their loving Lord. Krishna is the Lord of highest love, the Lord of every soul. And to connect them with him will be the solution, the highest solution for every life. Sincere in service. So as much as is done for him to spread his connection, his association, that is to be appreciated. Every atom must be given that chance. But we must be sincere. In a diplomatic way, in that attempt, we must not seek our own material aspiration, material gain. That should be eliminated. And there must be only the pure thing, service for sadhu, for guru, and for Krishna. With this spirit, whatever is done, it will be useful, and useful not only for me, and not only to the association, but to the whole world, to bring the infinite good into the finite world, and to connect souls under mortality with him as much as we are able to do. And the footnote here, so Srila Guru Maharaj said, not only to the association, meaning those in the immediate association of the preacher, the person or persons he or she is preaching to. Back to the text. Just as in a famine, as much food as we can distribute to the needy, it is so much the better. So here in this world, where the dearth of Krishna consciousness, the lack of real love of the Lord is very great, we shall try to distribute it to whomever we meet, to one and all. Nectar connection. So we shall distribute the nectar of Krishna consciousness to everyone. We shall try to give them that connection. By doing this, not only the human beings, but so many trees, animals, insects, they also may be engaged and benefited. The milk we get, we offer to the Lord, and the cows are benefited. The flowers we take, they go to the Lord, and the tree is benefited. In any way, whatever we use, water or anything, we offer to the Lord. Then Sukriti comes to them and gives some connection towards Krishna, and one day they will come to be with him. So try to be the agent. Try to work as the agent of Krishna consciousness, Krishna affection. And that may be also up to Krishna love of the higher order, as that of the gopis. And the footnote says, the gopis, the cowherd maidens of Raj, Vrindavan. Back to the text. That degree, that quality of love which the gopis have is of very rare value. and that connection should be given to one and all. We shall be agents, wholesale agents for that. And we shall get remuneration for that agent's work in terms of Krishna consciousness, love of Krishna. We shall be paid in that coin for our labour in distributing it to others. A holy exchange. A devotee asks, Srila Guru Maharaj, when we give people prasadam, it seems it is easier for them to accept that than when we try to collect donations from them. But does this mean that they earn more sukriti by giving the donation? And in the footnote, sukriti means the spiritual benefit derived from the blessing of Krishna as facilitated through his agent, the Vaishnava. Sukriti in its matured stage becomes Shraddha or faith. And Srila Guru Maharaj answers, in the case of the general people, when they're given prasadam, there is the chance of them making offence. They may commit aparad because they may not take it in the proper mood. If there's not respect, proper regard, there may be offence against prasadam, that is, seva aparad, offence in service. But in the case of taking donations, what you have collected from someone and taken to a proper Vaishnava who will be able to utilize it in service, to give the proper connection with Krishna, that is sure. The benefit is sure because the donor's energy, knowingly or unknowingly, is coming into Krishna's connection. But with prasadam, a person may not take it in a proper mood. He may feel hate, or he may mix it with other things and then take it. In this way there may be a chance of mal-service, aparad. Prasad seva, that is a kind of service. To take prasadam means to honour it, not to consume it. Everything that is connected with Krishna should be approached in a mood of service. Sukriti derives from this, and then this develops into Shraddha, faith. So, according to the degree of a soul's Shraddha, they will take prasadam very earnestly and very reverently, lovingly, and according to that, the consequence, the result will come to them. Do you follow? Devotee, yes. Srila Śrīdhar Maharāj, so with prasadam there may be seva aparad. It is possible. But there's no possibility of aparad in the primary case when a person initially is to earn some sukriti through contact with a devotee, such as when a devotee collects something from him. The person is giving something and he does not know, he doesn't understand for what purpose that is going to be used by the agent, the devotee, for the service of Krishna, but he's being benefited. In this case, there's no possibility of aparad, and even the smallest contribution a person makes is to his or her benefit. With due care. Sometimes, if it is a large contribution, that also may be risky. It may be heavy for the donor. He may not give it with Shraddha, with faith, so that may not fetch such sukriti leading to devotion. There's a footnote. In the case of a larger donation, the person requested may feel pressured, or they may donate not wanting to disappoint the devotee, but inwardly feeling some resentment. They may offer it grudgingly or with disrespect. Because it is not being offered, to use the English expression, in good faith, faith in this general sense, rather than specifically Shraddha, then it will not accrue any sukriti, spiritual merit for them. The mood in which the donation is offered is important. In the Bible there is the statement, the Lord loves a cheerful giver. Back to the text. So the smaller collection, smaller donation, that is safe. The giver does not mind giving a small amount, so there is less possibility of hatred or contempt in their giving, and the result is sukriti to their benefit. That is safe for the primary section, the complete newcomers. The footnote, traditionally in India, the student monk brahmachari would go on collection for the spiritual master. This was known as madhukari, that is like the bee, madhu, honey, which takes a little from each flower before going on to the next, thus not accepting too much from any one person, possibly inviting some negative reaction. Back to the text. But in general, whether it is the case of a book given, or the Shalagram Shila, or Giridhari, or the Archamurti, or the Mala, if these are treated hatefully or mishandled, there is the possibility of bad reaction. On the footnote explaining these terms for newcomers, Shalagram Shila, the deity stone form of Lord Vishnu, derived from the Kali Gandaki river in Nepal, and traditionally worshipped in India by Brahmanas according to strict principles. Giridhari. Krishna is famous as Giridhari, the lifter of Govardhan Hill. See Śrīmād Bhagavatam 10:10. Govardhan Hill in Vrindavan is itself considered to be a form of Krishna, and the Govardhan Shila, the stone from Govardhan Hill, is a worshipable deity form of the Lord. Archamurti, the deity form of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Mala, the rosary of 108 beads used by Vaishnavas in private chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Back to the text. So the result will come as good or bad. The manner of their use will fetch good or bad for the person receiving them. If they acquire some apathy about any such article, if they hatefully neglect them, that is aparad, and it has its bad result. The footnote to this says, the bad result for the disrespectful receiver. However, the scriptures exhort that the preacher, generally the madhyam adhikari, middle-level devotee, should not preach to faithless persons, for this may invite a negative reaction in such people, and that will be hindrance for the devotee's own spiritual progress. This is the 9th offence against the holy name mentioned in the Padma Purana. The proper recipients of a devotee's preaching are those who are inquiring genuinely and sincerely, or who are curious, or at least inoffensive. The envious or atheistic should be avoided or neglected. However, when preaching widely or to the people en masse, this discernment is not easily possible. The acharyas have therefore said, preaching means a risk. Back to the text. Delegated potency. In any case, all the souls wandering under Maya must be taken home. This is the responsibility of the guide, and according to the guide's capacity, the real result will come and have its effect. Their special capacity, also their inspiration, which is the special delegation of the Lord. Both of these combined creates the specific characteristic in an acharya. Rank is but the guinea stamp, man is the gold for that. There may be so many administrators, district magistrates, judges and so on, but rank is one thing and the man is another. The inner capacity, as well as the delegation, empowerment, both of these combined is what is effective. The personal characteristic of the preacher and the delegation, the delegated power of the Lord, how much power is delegated to him. The combination of these produces the desired result. On the footnote here. The preachers of Krishna consciousness will naturally be of different levels of devotional advancement. In a general sense, a preacher may be referred to as a teacher or a guide, as in the sense here. But the criteria of capacity and empowerment regarding the preacher's ability to deeply touch and convert souls to Krishna consciousness primarily refers to the higher level devotee and specifically empowered soul, the acharya or spiritual master. Back to the text. And devotee asks, We know that Krishna is coming through the Acharya, Śrīdhar Mahārāj. That means his power. Krishna here means his delegated power, his potency. Krishna is extending his potency, and Krishna's potency are almost one and the same. Okay. Finish? It's only... No one, huh?
I know how strong you feel.
No, I can do one more, yeah.
If you're okay?
Yeah.
Good.
Because this is my favourite chapter.
Sure. I'll cut that out.
Yes, good. Yeah. Chapter 10, the horizon of infinity. To catch the moon. Devotee asks, it says in Shastra, scripture, that by a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can attain all perfection. Srila Śrīdhar Mahārāj. Yes, but perfection in the infinite is a relative term. When Krishna is by the side of Radharani, he is Swāyam Bhagavan, that is, the fullest Krishna, the most perfect Krishna. But then there is Prabhava Vikash and Prabhava Vilas, Krishna of different types, different aspects. So a footnote here. As mentioned, Prabhava Vikash and Prabhava Vilas, these are expansions of Swāyam Bhagavan Krishna for different pastimes. Back to the text. So there is gradation in Krishna also, what to speak of devotees and human beings. In everything, gradation is there. We are limited beings, so we are encouraged, search, try to catch the infinite as much as you can. In this way, we are encouraged to see in the Acharya the highest teachership. But what is our capacity? We may try our utmost to see in this way, but how much can we extend ourselves? Still we are encouraged, whatever you can see, whatever you can conceive as the Absolute, go forward with this consciousness. When you will reach to that point, there you will find something more, and from there again go forward. Just as we may think the sun is very near, but if we begin our journey towards it, we will find, oh, I conceived that it was here, but there's more. I must go further, and again, still further. It is like a child who wants to catch the moon. His father says, the moon is nearby, I'm getting it for you, my boy, don't cry. In this way, always the encouragement is given in our search. It is very near. Infinite horizons. The truth is given, it is revealed by installments. Just as in education, the fullest encouragement should be given to the child to finish his studies in his present school. And when he has done so, there is further education in the college. He is encouraged to collect all of his energy and to utilize it in his present point of progress, and then to go forward. And there is no end to this journey, back to our Lord, back to home. At each stage of advancement, one will feel encouraged, but at the same time, as much progress as he makes, so much he'll be desperate and feel disappointment. I'm not getting anything. It is so sweet, I cannot taste even a drop. Mahaprabhu himself said to his devotees, Na prema gandosti tarapi me haro. My dear friends, I have not the slightest scent of love of Godhead within my heart. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 2:45. As much as souls will advance, as much as they are conscious of the infinite, so much they think themselves as having nothing. They think themselves infinitesimal. The infinite is so big. The more they make progress, the more they find it is further, it is more. Oh, the infinite! This is what it means. It is immense. I did not know that the infinite is so vast. It has no circumference. The centre has no circumference, but it is everywhere. Devotee, so this process, this progress, it is going on eternally? Srila Śrīdhar Mahārāj. Yes, it is always going on. But the infinite is the lake of nectar, ocean of nectar. And so in relation to him, there's no possibility of any loss. There's no possibility of being a loser, that I'll never be able to reach to the extremity, to the end of this, so I'll be lost. No, because it is always more tasteful, more energy-giving, more hope-giving, and so encouraging. One cannot live without it. The soul feels he has not attained anything, but still he cannot stop his journey, and he is sure to go on more and more. This is the nature of the path. And there's a footnote here. The nature of the spiritual journey and the experience of the seeker who is travelling it. That's Srila Guru Maharaj, meaning that it goes on and on. That of ever approaching his goal, the Lord, but apparently never arriving there. This is one which, within the scope of their own theologies, is shared by other theistic faith traditions. Jesuit theologian Karl Rahner, 1904 to 1984, wrote about God as the infinite horizon, whom one is always approaching but can never reach. In the writings of the Cappadocian father, St. Gregory of Nyssa, 335 to 395 AD, this is also a recurring theme. As God is infinite in all ways, he says, consequently, our drawing closer to him is going to be an infinite journey. It will continue for all eternity. He derives this from St. Paul's epistle to the Philippians, 3:13, that the sincere seeker must always be, quote, straining forward to what lies ahead, unquote. Gregory writes in his text on perfection, let us change in such a way that we may constantly evolve towards what is better, being transformed from glory to glory and from perfection to perfection, and thus always improving, ever becoming more perfect by daily growth and never arriving at any minute of perfection. But that perfection consists in our never stopping and our growth being good. Again, this theme is notable in the writings of the Christian mystics of the late medieval period. St. John of the Cross, 1542 to 1591, describes in The Ascent of Mount Carmel how the soul rises up towards God, being stripped of all its earthly attachments, so it can become empty in order to be able to be filled with God's love. His expression here is nada, nada, nada. That is nothing. By this he does not mean that the soul is nothing or that God is nothing, unless taken in the sense that he, the Lord, is no thing, that is to say, no thing of which one may have any experience through conditioned consciousness, but in the sense of the expression from Indian philosophy, neti, 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 that is, not this, not this, not this. In other words, God is always more, is higher, is greater, and indeed sweeter than is possible for the conditioned soul to conceive. There are many other savants who could be cited in this regard. In Islam, particularly the Sufi tradition, there are many beautiful texts, poems and teachings on the states and stages of God awakening. For example, Attar's Conference of the Birds, Ibn Arabi's The Treatise on Being, Jalaluddin Rumi's Matnavi, Shabishtari's The Secret Rose Garden, etc. In Islam, of course, Allah, or God, always remains the great, unknown and unknowable. The Vaishnav tradition, however, asserts that God can be known if he chooses to reveal himself. Once in a public meeting, Srila Śrīdhar Mahārāj was challenged by a gentleman, if the infinitesimal soul can know the infinite God, then he is not infinite. Srila Śrīdhar Mahārāj replied, if the infinite cannot reveal himself to the finite, then he's not infinite. But the knowing of God by the soul is of a different order than what is generally understood as knowledge, intellectual knowledge, or any kind of information, data gathering, etc. Even in the mundane world, when we say that two people know each other, though it certainly includes such data, the person's various tastes, proclivities, their name, address, and so on, it means something much more than this. It is a kind of knowing of the essence of the other, at least touching it in a point. So, in relation to the Absolute, mystics over the ages have tried to convey their experience of God in words, and due to the ultimate inadequacy of such words, often poetry is the medium they use to express it. The Sufi saints and philosophers sing of the passionate love of the soul for God, of the lover for the beloved. Oxford scholar and spiritual seeker Andrew Harvey, in his lecture series on Jalaluddin Rumi, entitled Song of the Sun, says, our modern addictions to reason and the games of irony and control have drained our psyches and souls of the heart blood that keeps life abundant and miraculous, and the Sufi lovers pump back that blood into us. The passion of the long Sufi tradition witnesses to the always shattering glory of the beloved and to the splendour of the journey towards him, and that restores to us the greatness of our real life, its vast capacity for suffering and joy, the measureless growth of the spirit that we are capable of, if we let ourselves be possessed and devoured by divine love, whatever path we are on. Here, as an example, is one of Rumi's poems on the revelations and illuminations, intense and sometimes bewildering, experienced in the second stage of the unfolding of the rose, in which the soul has glimpses and foretastes of the union with God which will be fully experienced in later stages. Rumi says to the Lord, "You are my soul, my universe. What do I have to do with the soul and the universe? For me, you are ever-flowing treasure. What do I have to do with profit or loss? 1 minute I am the friend of the wine, another the friend of him who burns me. I've come to this age of ruins, so what do I have to do with time's melodrama? I'm terrified by the whole world. I'm sprung free of the whole world. I am neither hidden nor apparent. What do I have to do with existence or space? I'm drunk on union with you. I need and want and care about no one else. Since I am your prey, what do I care about fate's bows and its arrows? I live at the bottom of the stream. Why would I go looking for water? What could or would I say about this stream that flows and flows? I've given up existence. Why go on staggering under the burden of this mountain? And since the wolf is my shepherd, why put up with the pretensions of the shepherd? What abandon, what drunkenness! You hold a cup in your hand, and blessed is the place you are, and glorious to the eye of the heart. Each atom by your grace is a universe, each drop of water a soul. And no one who has ever had a sign from you need worry again about name or sign. To find the place of splendour at the bottom of the sea of truths, you have to dive head first. What do I have to do with feet that scurry? With the sword of the one God you have hacked a path for us. You have stolen all my clothes. What will I give to the toll man? From your beauty ablaze like the sun, from the curls of your hair, my heart has become ecstatic. O my soul, hand me this brimming cup. Do not weigh pain and misery. Contemplate love, contemplate friendship. Do not mull over tyranny and neglect. Think of all who have their eyes fixed on you. Surname all grief grace. Transmute pain and anguish into joy. And ask from joy all happiness, all security, all peace. Demand that security, that peace. Demand them. Choose the company of those withdrawn in love. Listen to those who open a path to you. Listen and don't say a word. If God can be known at all, then, this can only be through love. Meister Eckhart, 14th century Dominican theologian, famously said, God can only be captured by love, by intellect never. This capturing of the Supreme Lord through love cannot be seen through a better example than that in the Vaishnava tradition of Mother Yashoda's literally capturing her mischievous little boy, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, apparently with a cord, but actually with her pure love. See Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14. We should also note here, on the subject of the soul's search for God being endless, that according to Vaishnava teachings, the perfection of liberation in relation to the Supreme Lord means the soul's realization of its eternal serving form, muktir hitvanyata rupam, Swarūpena vyavastiti. Liberation is the permanent situation of the form of the living entity after he gives up the changeable, gross and subtle material bodies. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.10.6. Even after attainment of this stage, however, being situated in one's eternal serving mood, manifesting through one of the 5 primary rasas or relationships of Shanta, peaceful, neutral, Dasya, service, Sakya, friendship, Vatsalya, parental, and Madhurya, conjugal. This attainment, though the final state of the soul, is not a static position, for the service rendered from this position increases by divine inspiration in depth of love and affection, in quality and quantity, and this progression again has no end. Approval of the inner heart. Back to the text. The sweetness of this journey is also of infinite character. As much sweetness as the soul tastes, he wants more. In this way, everything, every aspect in relation to the infinite is infinite. That is Vaikuntha. Kunta means limit, so Vaikuntha means limitless, unlimited. The footnote. Sri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swāmī Prabhupada, in his writings, renders Vaikuntha as free from suffering. But both versions may be seen as amounting to the same meaning, because all suffering occurs on account of limitations in one form or another. Back to the text. From the narrow, selfish conception of life, we are to merge into the wider conception of the universal flow. We may think that by doing so we will lose our position, but rather we are in the process of acquiring a higher position. So we must proceed in this way. We must go further, go higher. This means to surrender, to die to live. In this process we will feel that as much as we are eliminating, that we are losing our previous position, so much we are making progress. Progress means to always go forward, to move ahead. The higher taste is there and we get more and more life. So we have to die to live. And death, so-called death, is encouraged by the gain of more vitality, more life. We can feel it. The more we die, the more we live. So we can't leave this campaign, can't abandon it, because the taste, the inner feeling is there. In this way, all mundane attachments are naturally, gradually eliminated. Vishaya vinivatante, niraharasya dehina, rasavajam, rasopyasya, parang dvishtva nivatate. Srimad Bhagavad Gita 2.59. The embodied being may renounce the sense objects, but the taste for them remains. But that too vanishes for the man of wisdom. In this way, the experience of higher taste, higher ecstasy, encourages us to go further. I just have to finish there because I couldn't quite finish the chapter. I don't remember I got to there, page 112.